All right. Howdy, howdy. Welcome to Huntsville Guns. We're going to do another quick live stream today. I have some things I want to cover just based off of the work that I'm seeing coming in the door, but also some questions that I've been asked by customers here in the shop. If you will give me a moment, I am going to split my screen. I've got some stuff that I want to give y'all over in the chat section. Let's take a look. 1 second. All right. I'm going to jump right into it. Nobody's joined yet, but I'm going to not let that stop me. I have a couple of things I want to cover. I have a bunch of projects that have come in the door last week and this week for barrel threading. It would appear that the $200 tax stamp being removed from NF items, i.e. suppressors, removing that $200 price point has reinvigorated the interest in suppressor ownership. And so I've had a bunch of customers, new customers, and then older customers, repeat customers, if you will, that have come in that are interested in having firearms threaded because they intend on owning a suppressor. That $200 price point being removed. Let me go ahead and turn this off. My cousin likes to call right in the middle of a live stream. It's also lunchtime, so I'll forgive him. But suppressor ownership is on the rise. People interested in owning suppressors is on the rise. And so I want to give you a couple of tidbits of information, things that I have learned as a suppressor owner, but also as someone who installs threads barrels and helps people make a decision and installs suppressor mounting devices on firearms. And so we will jump right into it. What do you plan on doing with it? If you're going to purchase a suppressor, what do you plan on doing with it? Because that is, these are not necessarily in priority order, but all of the factors that I consider when having a conversation with a customer about a suppressor. Not all suppressors are made equal. Not all of them are intended for the same purpose, if you will. They suppress the sound signature of a firearm, yes, but different suppressors are made for different purposes. I'll give you an example. Flow-through suppressor designed to use with a semi-auto firearm versus a conventional style suppressor not designed to deal with where you don't have to consider the back pressure in the firearm. So what do you plan on doing with it? The majority of my customers are in the hunting arena. I have a gentleman who called me yesterday or the day before who has purchased 3 suppressors. He got a buy one, get one kind of deal, and then he purchased an additional one on top of that. He's an older gentleman who already owns a lot of firearms and would like to thread the barrel on his firearms, multiple to use with his new suppressor purchase. And so in his instance, he has the firearm he's going to use the suppressor with, so he already knows the caliber. But if you're purchasing a suppressor and you don't have a dedicated firearm already, what caliber are you going to be shooting through it? Because not all of them are created equal. Some suppressors do better with multiple calibers, i.e. you buy a 30 caliber suppressor and you use it with 30 caliber 300 blackout and a 5.56. Some suppressors handle that task better than others. What mounting system do you intend on using or do you need? Is your suppressor direct thread, i.e. it's designed to thread directly onto the muzzle of the firearm, or does it use a quick attach method? All of these are things that are important because if you're purchasing one suppressor and you plan on using it for multiple firearms, in my experience is usually easier, multiple calibers of firearms, it's usually easier to use a quick detach method because then you put one dedicated muzzle brake for the thread pitch on each gun, and then you can move that suppressor to different hosts as long as they all use the same attachment style. What material do you want? Again, this is a little more nuanced. But if you plan on running multiple strings of really fast 5.56 out of a 10.5 inch barrel gun, as opposed to a slow hunting scenario where you're shooting one round of 300 Win Mag, the material and construction method are a little more important when you're considering your suppressor purchase. And then what do you have to spend? Because honestly, the sky's the limit with what you can spend on suppressors these days. The technology has changed a bunch since I bought my first suppressor and since I started using them. And so construction method and material can dictate a pretty wide range of cost when you're talking about purchase price. So let's do a hypothetical situation. You're a new suppressor owner, and you are going to use it in, like the majority of my customers, in a hunting scenario. You're going to put it on a dedicated bolt action rifle. It's going to be shot a few times a year when the firearm is zeroed, and then a few more times during the hunting season. But you also would like that suppressor to be capable of use on your AR when you're hunting feral hogs or when you're at the range training. And then additionally, you would like it to be easy to clean. So during the off season, when you're not using it regularly, you want to be able to clean the firearm. You're probably looking at a minimum diameter. So your hunting rifle is 308. You're looking for a 30 caliber suppressor like this one, capable of being used on 30 caliber down to 5.56 or 223 or everything in between. But you also own a 300 Win Mag. You want to make sure that the material and the construction allows you to use it on a caliber that large. This is a can that I've owned for many, many, many years. I think I've had this one more than 10 years. Yeah, I think this is the first suppressor NFA purchase that I made, was this suppressor. So this is a Yankee Hill Phantom can. It is titanium construction. It actually has some Inconel blast baffles inside, but the rest of it is titanium. It's fairly long compared to more modern cans, probably 8.5, 9 inches long. And it weighs in just at a pound without the necessary quick detach muzzle device. And so when you add this long and this heavy of a can on the front of a 24 or a 26-inch barrel, it can give you a lot of muzzle weight, which can affect your barrel harmonics, but it also can affect how easy the gun is to carry through the woods. I carried this in hunting last year, and it's kind of difficult when you've got a 26-inch barrel and another 8.5 inches of suppressor to get that quietly up and out the window of a box blind. Creates a very long rifle. But this can is rated for 300 Win Mag and below, and I have probably 10,000 rounds through this can, if not more than that, from everything. Yankee Hill, don't hate me, but I've run 22 long rifle through it, 17 HMR, all the way up to 307 mag. I don't know that I've run any 300 Weatherby through it. I think that's probably right around the threshold for what I'm comfortable shooting through it. But when you're looking to make a suppressor purchase, you need to nail down a few things. What do you need the can to do? How much do you want it to weigh? What do you want to spend on it? And in that, what do you need it to do? What calibers does it need to be capable of handling? Every suppressor manufacturer worth their salt out there has the specifications for their can on their website. I'm trying not to show you my serial number. They have the specifications for their can on the website, and that will tell you the calibers that it is rated for. It will tell you, usually you have to do a little more digging, but they will tell you minimum barrel length for specific calibers, common stuff like 5.56. This can, for example, is only rated on a 10.5 inch or longer 5.56 barrel. Any shorter than that, you can start to get erosion of the baffles. It's rated up for 300 Win Mag. When I bought this can, it was over $1,000 to purchase a titanium suppressor. That cost of entry has come down significantly since then. I think the entry level price point for a lot of 30 caliber Hunting style suppressors these days is probably around that $600 or $700 price point. And then in January, when that $200 tax stamp, when the fee associated with that $200 tax stamp goes away, these become much, much more affordable. I prefer a quick detach muzzle device. Like I said, this particular can I have used on just about every caliber you could conceive that fits through the exit diameter for the front cap. I will say that direct thread cans are usually a bit cheaper. However, that cost is usually associated with the cost of the quick detach muzzle devices. So this is an older Yankee Hill muzzle brake. It's designed to use, I think, the Phantom all the way through. Most of their modern cans use this style. It's got a ratchet mechanism on the back of it. These are about $75 to $100 a piece. And so when you purchase the suppressor and you want to use it on multiple guns, you have to factor that additional cost of muzzle brakes or attachment devices across the guns that you plan on using it on. Whereas a direct thread can, you don't have that additional cost. But then again, all of your suppressors have to be threaded the same thread pitch or have a thread adapter. I personally am not a huge fan of thread adapters unless they're made specifically for that firearm. Some of the CNC stuff out there now is getting pretty good, but 10 years ago, when you had a guy like me who was threading thread adapters, you could get some inconsistencies. I said that's the basics of suppressors. I have a lot of questions. It seems to be first-time suppressor owners, and those, in my experience, are usually the older customers who don't have any input or have any experience with suppressors. I had a new customer come in the other day, super nice guy. We had probably a 2-hour conversation, just a very knowledgeable individual in the machining world, worked for a tool supplier out of the Houston area. And so he's very familiar with what goes into machining and a machine shop setup. As a gun owner and a big game hunter for many, many years, but is in that age range where suppressors were not allowed or not common in his hunting circle. And so he was just asking a bunch of questions about how to get started, what he should consider, pricing, things of that nature. I am not an SOT dealer, so I don't deal in NFA items. I have just never really, my market doesn't support that here locally. There is another dealer in town who does a lot of online sales, and they specialize in NFA items as well. They have a huge online presence. They have one of the little silencer shop kiosks in the store. And for me, it was kind of a deal breaker. There's a lot of storage requirements. You have to hold things until a background check and all of the tax stamps get approved. And it's just not something that fits my business model. But we were having a conversation. He'd never held a suppressor. And so I happen to have one of mine here in the shop. I just finished cleaning it in the ultrasonic. And so we talked about all of the various facets that go into that. I'm curious, drop it in the chat, or if you're watching this after the live stream, in the comments section. If you have suppressor experience, what level is that? And then if you do not, what questions do you have about suppressor ownership? And then additionally, the gunsmithing side of that. If you have any questions, can you suppress this firearm? Things of that nature. I have threaded every kind of barrel you could imagine for use with a suppressor. Milsurp rifles from World War II all the way up through modern lever action guns, which that's another thing we're going to cover here in a bit. Lever actions are becoming way, way more popular than they have been over the last couple of years. And so I've threaded quite a few of them. You name it, I've threaded a barrel for it to use with a suppressor. I have not threaded a shotgun now that I think about it, but that may be the only exception. And I find that they are becoming much more mainstream. While hunting and guiding this fall so far, I was in a camp with some elk hunters. Out of the 6 hunters there, 3 of them were using suppressed rifles. 2 of them on a 300 PRC. There's a story there. And then 1 of them on a 300 Win Mag. In my experience, especially hunting with other hunters, guiding, and then hunting with kids, my own, suppressors change the dynamic of how you hunt, in that you don't blow kids' eardrums out, and it really changes how animals react, in my experience. Now the story on the 300 PRC that was suppressed, very popular mainstream can on the market right now. The gentleman is not what we would call a experienced or seasoned big game hunter. He's relatively new to the hunting world, has shot a couple of white-tailed deer, has never shot anything larger or smaller than that. Got into hunting through a corporate event, and then in that process had a custom rifle built, and then bought a suppressor on the recommendation of a friend of his who was a big game hunter. And while at the range zeroing said suppressor, managed, it's one of the modern design where the baffles are welded together and there is no outer tube, managed to shoot the front half of the suppressor off. Turns out the can was not rated for 300 PRC. It was a 30 caliber can, and it was aligned correctly, and everything was done correct on the gunsmith's part. It's just the can wasn't rated for the caliber he was trying to shoot it through. So do your research. If you're going to buy a can, either call somebody like me who has a good bit of experience with it, or call the manufacturer you're considering directly. If you can't find the information on their website, most of them, in my experience, are more than happy to talk to you on the phone and sell you their product. But let's jump away from the suppressor subject. If you have any questions or any kind of anecdotal stories, I love hearing the stuff. Drop it in the chat section. But let's jump over to the next thing I want to cover. That's a new item. I just got an email this morning about a new product coming to market. It is not necessarily a new gun, but a revision of a previous gun. And so let me split the screen here. This is direct from Smith & Wesson's website. I got the information from one of the distributors that I deal with, Davidson's. So there is the J-frame model 432 and then the 632 in 32 H&R Magnum. This is a cool because it is a kind of a retake on the J-frame. They have done what is called the upgraded endurance package. I remember a couple years ago, the Model 29 was a really popular target gun. And there were several of those guns that had to be sent in back to Smith & Wesson for some reliability issues. Nothing wrong with the gun, but when you run them in the volume that these guys are running them and at the power levels for the ammo that they're running, they have done what they call the endurance package. And that's basically an upgrade for the internals. So the cylinder lockup has changed slightly, and then the pins that your internal parts pivot on, they're not necessarily visible from the exterior of the gun. Those pins are upgraded to give them a little more durability for that. So the new 432 and 632 offered by Davidson's. It's a Davidson's exclusive with that endurance package. I said there's something that I just got the email on this morning. I can't show you the email because it has dealer pricing, but affordable option for a carry gun if you're looking for a hammerless carry gun. I've never been a big, huge 32 H&R mag guy. I like a 38 just because of ammo availability. But this is a great option for something with a little bit less recoil than a 357 and a little smaller package. And then we will go over to, let's look at, this is not a new product, but this is something that should be on sale in the next couple of days. We're getting ready to get into the Black Friday season. And so Sig Sauer is doing a bunch of sales with all of their distributors right now. And so if you're looking for a SIG product, in particular, the next week or two is a really good time leading up to Black Friday to look for these items. This is an M17 conversion kit. SIG actually has these stock. A lot of the distributors are going to have them here in the next couple of days. And so your local gun dealer should see them on the shelf. This takes your factory 320. You pull your fire control unit out of your factory 320 and converts it into an M17. I think the M18 version is also available. But the regular price is $549. I think SIG is going to be offering these on sale in the next day or two. If it's something that you're interested in, it's a good time to pick one up. Or if you have a spare fire control unit laying around and you need a way to finish that gun out, you should see these cheaper than this price point over the next couple of days. This live stream is 100% going to get demonetized, by the way, just because of the pricing that's on these websites. SIG, like I said, has a big push right now. All of the major distributors, Lipsy's, Orion, Davidson, Sports South, all of the big nationwide distributors are getting their SIG stock in preparation for Black Friday. So you should see those items and SKUs start to pop up more common. I think Palmetto just dropped a bunch of Rose stuff, if I'm not mistaken. That's another big push that SIG is doing for their Rose product line. Trying to incorporate more female shooters. And so you should see some of that stuff for Black Friday, if not a couple of days before. And then I want to talk about Palmetto in particular. I subscribe, obviously being in the industry, I'm looking at guns and pricing pretty regularly. And then I subscribe to a lot of alerts. I have customers that are looking for items. And so I subscribe to a lot of alerts. So if something pops up on the retail side, I can send that link to them versus waiting on one of my distributors to get it to where I make 5% or whatever the margin is going to be on it. I usually will send a link. So for example, it's a poor example. I have a customer who's looking for a Rock Island 1911. It's a very specific model for that Rock Island. And he's been looking for it for quite some time. My distributors never seem to have that SKU in stock. I have multiple notifications set up with my distributors and never seem to grab one of the allocations when they're available for this customer. And then I set it up through, I think, Palmetto, Sportsman's, a couple of different online gun sellers. And got a notification that somebody had it in stock. I sent that link to my customer, and then he was able to just purchase it and have it transferred through me. He still gets the gun he wants. I make a little money on the transfer. And basically, he doesn't have to wait 6 more months until I get an allocation. But Palmetto is having some really crazy sales leading up to Black Friday. And then they have some deals that, not necessarily Palmetto, but what I want to caution you on with this is that not all deals are as good of a deal as you think. There's a site that I like. It's called gun.deals. I would give you a link, but obviously then we guarantee that I'm demonetized because I'm giving you pricing, a direct link to the pricing. But gun.deals is a really good place. You can check the historical data, and then you can compare that item's SKU across all of the distributors who are basically listed on the website. And so if you're looking for a specific Glock model, you can put that SKU into gun.deals and see who all has it on sale and at what price, and then historical data for that. So 6 months ago, it was $20 cheaper. And then now everybody bumps their price up 3 months before Black Friday. And then Black Friday, they mark it down to the same price they were selling it for 6 months ago. So just do a little research. If something seems like a good deal, maybe do some research to determine if it's as good a deal as you think it is. But Palmetto does have a couple of items that I thought were a good deal today that popped up, and I wanted with you. So this is the TSUS. It's in stock online, and you can check their retail store inventory over at Palmetto. But this is a GI style 1911. It does have some modifications. It does have a flared ejection port. Pure GI. 1911A1. It's got a couple of modifications. It does come with an 8-round magazine, but this is a very good entry-level 1911 option for cheaper than anything Rock Island has on the catalog right now. So a $300 1911 is those days are rapidly drying up and have been for quite some time. Everything has been a bit overinflated, so it's nice to see that $300 price point again. Obviously, after shipping and, and transfer, you're going to spend a little more money, but a good offering for you to compare to. And then additionally, to the other one, so they have the Heritage Manufacturing 92 in 357.38, down at $500, $499.99 specifically. Pretty good deal. Lever guns wildly popular these days. I have more of them coming in for modifications and upgrades. What's the company? They just ran right out of the back of my head. They do a lot of Picatinny rails and scope mount options and stock options for these. I have a lot of these guns coming through the door for upgrades. I will tell you that this is a great little rifle for the money. It's not the cheapest I have seen it, so maybe if you're looking for one of these, keep this one in mind, but I would look for some really good options. Heritage always does good Black Friday sales, and Palmetto is usually the cheapest place. This one isn't a great suppressor candidate, by the way, because of where the magazine tube ends in relation to the muzzle on the barrel. It's just hard to thread for a suppressor without cutting the magazine tube down. I think that's it as far as kind of the general run-of-the-mill stuff. Yet another phone call while I'm live streaming. Sorry to watch this video, by the way. I will tell you that there is a new product that dropped today. I have been a big fan of this particular product line. I think it's a really cool option. And they are doing more with it than I thought they originally would have. I've had a few of them through the shop, only no repairs, only upgrades. And so they're pretty reliable guns in my experience. And this is one that I haven't even seen a press release on yet. I got a dealer only email. And so you're getting a bit of a sneak peek to what your dealer is going to be looking at before they go public. So your dealer can order this firearm right now. And the picture I'm going to show you is edited. I did delete the pricing out of it, but the SKU number is correct. This is another one of those exclusive guns. Let's see. So about the Canic and the Terran Tactical Combat line. Really cool pistol. Got some cool options. Very reliable in my experience. But they have done a bunch with the Terran Tactical line. You get a lot of gun for the money compared to some other competitors on the market. But they've done a few of the Terran Tactical. They've got the smoke, and then you can get it with the optic options. But they've done some cool color schemes, and the one that I saw today is no exception to that. Let me see if I can find what I've done with it. Make sure I have the deleted pricing so you don't get more information than you need. So this is the Terran Tactical Combat Smoke Doomsday, kind of a cool color scheme. It is available now. Your dealer can order this. Orion Wholesale is the only distributor who is carrying this. Kind of a cool zombie or doomsday themed color scheme. Some bronze and some OD green. This is the 18-round optics ready. It does come with a fiber optic front sight and the compensator, just like all the other ones in this product line. But here is your UPC for Orion and the SKU if you want your dealer to look up that particular gun. Let me make sure. Like I said, pretty cool option. I've been a fan of the Terran Tactical line, and I like that they are doing some more color themes. I am not a huge collector of the highly Cerakoted customized stuff. Obviously, I'm more in the business of selling things than I am owning things, but this is a cool option. Um, I'll tell you that it's right in line with the pricing on the previous versions that they did. Apocalypse, I think, is the one before that they did. Yeah, pretty cool option. Let's see if I can find that again. We will drop that so you can get one more look at it before we go off of here. But again, Terran Tactical Combat Smoke Doomsday, pretty cool option. If you've shot one of these, I'd love to hear your opinion. Drop that in the comments section. Not this particular one. Obviously, it hasn't been released pre-order. But your pricing, like I said, is right in line. But if you shot one of the Terran Tactical guns, the 3 of them that I have were here strictly for upgrades. They weren't for repairs. I'd love to hear your opinion if you think these are worth the money that they're going to release it. Like I said, if you're interested in one, have your dealer reach out to their Orion rep and order one of these. Their conditions available as of about an hour ago, so these should still be available. Watching this anytime close to when it's filmed. But with that being said, I've got lots of work to get done today. I have a couple of customers who are coming by to pick up stuff, and then a couple of customers who are coming by to drop off stuff. Lots of barrels to thread, and then a couple of little small projects. I don't know that I have plugged it before in a video, but I have a buy me a coffee link that I will drop in the description for this video. I'm doing some limited edition hand numbered and signed postcards. And if you're interested in one of those, the link will be down in the description when the video hits the channel after it finishes uploading. But just a cool way for you to connect with me here in the shop and be a part of one of the projects I'm working on. Additionally, if you have one of those weird oddball projects, I've had a bunch of people reach out about specific guns that their gunsmith won't touch or something that they can't seem to find anybody to work on. Shoot me a message. Again, my website link will be down in the bottom in the description. But I have a contact button up at the top. It emails me directly here at the shop. I'm more than happy to at least point you in the right direction. Probably 10% of my day is spent talking on the phone or on email with potential customers or helping somebody find the right person for the job or helping them find the right parts for a job or a gun that they're working on. I'm more than happy to help y'all in your endeavor. If you just have some questions about a project you're working on and you need some guidance, I'd love to help. But I'm going to jump off of here and get back to work. And it is lunchtime, so I'm going to grab a sandwich before I do it. But thanks for hanging out. Hope you found this one useful. Have a great day.